All right, call the meeting to order and roll call, please.
Hey, Councilmember.
Present.
City Administrator Larson. He's absent. Public Works Director.
Present.
Engineer Umberford.
Present.
I think we're all here.
Sweet. That it, Laura? Thank you. Okay, minutes look good. Any public comments or presentations?
No.
Thank you. So we'll start with the building department reports. Mr.
So I provided you with the large one.
Oh, the large one?
You're like me, you need big frame. So we're being consistent with the number of permits that are going out. Currently, we have 256 active permits. We have 18 that are waiting online to be picked up. We have 4 projects that are in review. Last month, we did 69 inspections. And then code enforcement currently has 10 cases going on right now. The Bridgewater plat is slowly going along on it. And we're dealing with a few other projects that we're meeting, which Kim probably will know more about. So that's what we have from the building department.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh. So it's kind of pretty steady, you say? Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be picking up once Bridgewater picks up. Well, their goal right now is just to get their model home set up, which will also have their office
Right.
in it. And then from there, they'll expand the number of houses.
Well, that'll be kind of their kickoff then, once they get that done.
Yep.
How
Yeah,
many homes again, I forget.
33. We've got some other exciting things too. 33 houses out at Bridgewater. They just submitted today for final plat resubmittal. So JC and I will take a look at that. And then let's see, Tim also issued the final occupancy on 5 new homes on Tacoma Court, kind of that tucked in area behind Tacoma Avenue off of where it meets up with Calistoga. So there's 2 duplexes and 1 single family home. So 4 duplex units and then 1 single family home that just got final on that a couple of weeks ago. And then we have some interesting, some interest coming in from the community that want to meet up with us to discuss some preliminary development. The Soldiers Home wants to do a bit of an expansion out at their property. And we have a pre-application. JC and Tim and I have a meeting with them tomorrow morning to be able to discuss some, some kind of different ideas that they have for how they want to use the property out there to be able to create more housing for veterans in the community. So, but yeah, we definitely have a lot of interest and ideas coming in pretty routinely for pre-applications. People wanting to come in and talk with us about ways they can develop their property.
Nice. Thank you. Anything else from the building department?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Who's handling administration today? ACA,
I
Kim?
guess that would be me, although I don't think that Scott was anticipating being gone today, so he didn't really give me any updates. So I'm going to rely on the expertise in the room. Mr. McBee might have more things. We did not get a chance to chat. I was busy with 95th graders.
Yeah, now that we're done with the gaggle of kids, for the telemetry master plan and design, just an update for you, Councilmember Hogan, and those that may watch online later. We received scope and budget for parametrics to complete the master planning portion of the overall plan and design. That will come to the Public Works Committee in July. We've had a little bit of back and forth and just waiting on the final version, and then we'll be able to move that one forward.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we'll go to engineering reports. JC, are you doing this one?
Yeah, thank you. Thanking on myself for the recording. I'll just roll through. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. Like usual, keep it pretty casual. Kansas Street, we're working on some, just working through the final details of the design on that one, and we're still on path to get that out to bid. WashDOT Fish Passage, continue coordination with WashDOT on essentially the three projects out there, the two Fish Passage at Roush Creek, Card Creek, and then the roundabout at Orville Road as well. We submitted a scope and budget to Ryan last week for his review for the water line design portion of that, and I think he's in review of that as well. Stormwater plan, we're working through the model, the hydraulic model for your stormwater system, and then going through some final checks in QC, analyzing data gaps, and then rolling into the CIP portion of that, where we're going to identify constraints within your system and where we recommend updates to the collection system. On the water system plan, having regular collaborative meetings with Ryan and the Public Works team on that. Working on the hydraulic model. I think the city's going to be going out and doing some calibration and some hydrant testing for us here shortly, so we can get our model calibrated. In addition to that, we've been working on the risk RRA portion of that, so the risk and resiliency assessment. Had a workshop with the city last week on that. Some of the risks that and facilities we've looked through, and then some of the initial risks that we've identified. So we're pairing those together and working with the city on how to prioritize those risks and then the mitigation factors associated with those. City standards, working through that as well. We've got through, I personally have gone through QC on a few of the sections, and we're trailing some questions into Ryan on preferences and some of the things that we've identified, discrepancies between the current standards, old standards, and where we can make improvements on materials or just various preferences from O&M staff, things like that. So that's everything on my end. Quick update. Any questions from folks?
So how many water lines responsible for in these fish passages?
So it's one water line, the water line that goes essentially from Orville Road out to Wingate Springs. And so there's short sections associated with the two culverts that they're going to replace with bridges or three-sided box culverts. I think in total it's roughly 1,500 feet of water main for two sections, and then the section at the intersection at Orville Road there. So one main, but three sections that will have to be redesigned and relocated to accommodate these projects.
Okay, thank you. Stormwater, where's it, when it runs, where's it end up?
All your stormwater in town? So you have a series, I think there are 7 outfalls that go out to your various rivers. So obviously you've got the catch basins out here in all your streets. They go into pipes, and then you've got a series of outfalls that are all gravity feed. One that is assisted with a pump station along the through city limits here, the Carbon River. And as you go down gradient, there's additional outfalls. And then on the Puyallup River, outfalls starting near the Calistoga Bridge, going all the way down to High Cedars Golf Course as well. Additional to that, there's a lot of stormwater that goes into the conveyance ditch along the new Wolf Calistoga levee, and then that is conveyed through outfalls out through the levee as well. So the levees act as a natural constraint to your stormwater, so we have to pipe through those. If the river comes up, there's backflow prevention devices on the majority of those, so we don't get water flowing back into the city system. When you get floodwaters, it closes, preventing that backflow capability.
Okay. Did we ever get the one completed down at the golf course?
Not yet.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Is that still because of our customer down there?
Yeah, property owner negotiations continue to be
Okay.
the challenge with that one. In addition to it, not only is it property owner, but an additional challenge to that is that it's actually not within city limits and extends into Pierce County, unincorporated Pierce County. So your ability to exercise your property rights is a little bit more challenging with that particular project.
Thank you. All right, I guess we'll move into project management, capital projects.
Yes,
Hi, Ashley.
good afternoon, council. So the 6-year tip in your packet, there is an updated transportation improvement program. We took the opportunity to look at some of our estimates, and we increased the Kansas Street project because the engineer's estimate came in higher, so that went up a little bit. And then we rolled the money for the ADA compliance annual program and the pavement management program for 2026. Those costs are included in the Kansas Street Southwest reconstruction project and the emergency evacuation bridge. Just to make sure we're using our funds appropriately. So I think those are mostly the changes that you will see on here, but I just wanted to bring to your attention that the June 11th public hearing, this is what will go forward. There's a footnote for that public hearing about the ADA compliance and pavement management program, but just wanted to let you know that that is updated in your packet and see if you have any questions on the tip.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so that'll go for a public hearing June 11th. And then on the bridge, the contractor's working on Pier 2. They are forming the walls that will be constructed for the east ramp. And the subcontractor will mobilize back in tomorrow to start working on the shaft anomaly repairs so that we can get started on the pier on the west side. So going along out there pretty well.
So they're able to keep working.
Yes, they have been able to keep working. Yes.
Okay.
That's all I've got. Do you have any questions on the bridge?
Yeah, are we still in the investigation mode on our bridge stuff?
So I'll jump in. I'll take that one, Councilmember Hogan. Yes, there's still a little bit of investigation going on. At this moment, the contractor is going to come in and do a little bit of hydro demo down underground, and then they'll camera one more time before we go back in and make grout type repairs. Any additional information can be presented at that time. We'll have both city staff as well as our parametrics construction management staff who have been representing us on the whole entire project out there at that time as well. So we'll get good additional data. If our decision-making processes need to adjust in any way, shape, or form, we'll be right there to kind of collect and observe as situations arise. But moving forward, the relationship with our contractor has been pretty much on the up and up with no issues. Meetings have been very cordial and very personable moving forward so far.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you.
I just want to add too, we'll be at the SR 162 open house at the McMillan Grange tomorrow. I'll have a table out there. So if you want to stop by, I'll be out answering questions and have some displays that Kim's helped me with. So we'll be out there at the open house tomorrow.
That's 4 to 6?
4 to 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. I better put 3:30 on my phone. Huh? Okay, thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a good turnout and it'll be civil, supposedly
Think it'll be good.
informational type thing, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, we'll see what kind of traffic jam we can create during rush hour. Okay, Public Works. Ryan, what's up?
Not in the packet, but will be included in things down the road, will be a WRRF Biosolids Improvement Project update. Provided a handout to you.
Oh, yep,
for your reference.
this one, biosolids.
That is correct.
Okay.
I just want to provide a quick update to both the committee and then vice the council as a whole during the combined study session / regular meeting at the 18th. So without going into everything verbatim, the biosolids project is being developed with flexibility in mind, designed to integrate with permit required improvements without committing to immediate construction of non-required systems. This balanced approach ensures the city can adapt to future growth and regulatory shifts without overextending our current resources. And what I mean by that is we're designing the building and the digesters to get us to a certain point. And then there will be an option for us to move from a Class B biosolids to the Class A, where it can then be provided to the community at really no cost, as essentially OGRO or whatever name we come up with, similar to Tacoma's Tigro. Ultimately, what we're doing is making sure that we're taking a good balanced approach instead of taking one big bite out of the apple, and making sure that we use a good thoughtful approach there. Meaning the biosolid dryer portion itself is very expensive just for the drying equipment. Everything else also is equally expensive, but there is a greater cost that comes with the dryer equipment. So moving on into the design process summary. For those not familiar with this project, Parametrics was originally brought on to do the initial design. They got to 90%, and their cost estimate was about $18.2 million for final construction of the entire facility. At one point, they ended up with the city changing direction and choosing a different engineering firm to complete the design. So right now we're under contract with Wilson Engineering, and they progressed with getting us to a 30% design, and the initial cost estimates at that time were $32 to $34 million to complete the biosolids facility project itself. Then fast forward to a month or two ago, our 60% design from Wilson Engineering came in, still at that $34 million mark approximately. We had a good 3 or 4 hour meeting with the design team, and we did a lot of value engineering in order to update and adjust those costs. So we removed a lot of things from the scope that was originally part of the plan because it wasn't necessarily needed. For example, a lot of pavement and concrete work for sidewalks and everything around the facility. We're electing to move forward with a different treatment technique there for those types of services. Also, there were a lot of maintenance related issues in the design that we addressed, and we'll talk about those in a further page. But if you look on page 2, you'll see kind of a drawing of what the facility is going to look like. And there's a couple of images that you can flip through. Some of the key technical highlights near the end of the 5-page document. The solids processing building, which is what's being pictured there, will have a screw press, odor control system, a future dryer phase, and a flexible layout on the right-hand side up on that second floor. Right now, our wastewater treatment plant operators operate in a lab facility. I have 4 staff members. There's only actual office space in there for 2. And up until recently, the supervisor had been not having a workstation up there with the plant operators themselves. So thinking long-term and looking forward is to eventually finish out that upper portion on the right-hand side of that building with actual laboratory and office space for all of the wastewater staff so they can work closely together and not be in 2 different locations essentially. Also, that will renew our ability to monitor both parts of our system as well. One of the other key items that we're including inside the building itself is one of the future SCADA telemetry master plan identified hub locations for controlling of all of our water, wastewater infrastructure. So we're purposely building a room in there for us to house all of the electronic brains for our system. It'll be part of the network in there. So we'll have a redundant capability between what we have in Public Works and there at the plant. There'll be digesters that will be attached to the backside of the existing treatment facility that will store waste for 45 days in 3 different basins as it goes through the treatment process. Not pictured here because I didn't get that from our contract staff. We're also working on coordinating with PSE for natural gas stub outs because there will be a requirement for natural gas in order to heat the dryer equipment. On that last page, you'll also see the building will be sprinkled, so there'll be fire protection that's required. We're future-proofing the lab space with some electrical, and the dryer integration is being planned in the initial design. We're also adding retrievable decanters to improve performance during winter months. We're rerouting some of the air and drain piping for cost savings and access. It was originally designed for stainless steel piping, but we're going with carbon steel instead, which will reduce the cost. Also eliminated the bagging system. We don't necessarily need that. That's additional items that provide opportunity for future failure down the road. So we're actually going to redirect all of the dried solids directly into a storage area that staff will manage and rotate as it goes through.
Is that covered then?
Yes, it'll be completely covered. There will also be a small storage shed similar to what Sumner has at their waste facility, where general public can come up and they can grab by the bucket full, by the truck full if they wanted to, and staff will refill those. We'll probably look at doing something similar to what Sumner does when it really kind of catches on, is do deliveries of large quantities to farms and things of that nature. We're adjusting that layout in the electrical room to make it more optimal for our needs. And also addressing some utility relocations that the contractor proposed that are actually not necessary and needed at this point in time. So where are we at now? They're working on finalizing their 90% design plans and specs, and we should receive some updated cost estimates at that time, anticipated July timeframe. Also confirming the construction administration and engineering scopes of services would happen as well, and then preparing bid-ready documents. We also will need to coordinate with funding partners because we don't have the $34 million construction estimate in funds currently. We have 10 million from the Public Works Board loan, and we have approximately 8 to 9 in general sewer funds available. And then we're also going to potentially look at a third party to take a look at the design and provide an independent cost estimate as well. So a lot of stuff moving with that project.
Okay. What is retrievable decanters?
So typically right now our decanters stay in one location in the existing plant infrastructure, and they just rise up and down. Well, the retrievable ones will allow us to pull them out, do maintenance, and we'll be able to adjust the height to make sure that they decant the right amount of liquids out, so we keep all the solids in place.
That's the one that collects the solids then.
Doesn't necessarily collect the solids, but that one helps collect the water.
The water.
Yep.
Separate, keeps the solids from coming through.
Correct.
That's the floaters and.
Yep. The big blue floater in the pond, so. Other things that we also did as part of that, working together with the contractor, There was no easy way to do maintenance if we had to take one of those digester basins down in order to properly move things through the retention periods required. The floor was just completely flat. So we have now redesigned that to where it will slope towards one corner where our transfer pumps will be in order to transfer it into the next basin and so forth through the process. The staff really put their heads together and came up with a good solution for long-term maintenance.
So easy cleanup, kinda, or better.
Should be easier, but
Okay.
that's where we're at right now.
Right, thank you. That went well. And then you said we're getting more later, or is this what everybody's gonna see?
So everyone will see this one, yes.
Thank you. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Do I have any handouts or anything?
No handouts, no.
Okay.
There'll be handouts in the finance committee meeting for finances, but in particular related to public works, there's a project source spreadsheet that we're working on to try to put together all the projects and all the funding sources. So we have an idea of like where we're spending funds, since we use REIT funds for several different projects for parks and streets. We're trying to make sure that we're expending funds appropriately. So that's one of the things that we're working on. But the other thing is we still are consistently, requesting grant reimbursement for White Hawk and the bridge. I think the bridge we're going to request about $590,000 for June related to April, actually. April, and then White Hawk, we just requested about 16,000. So we're still in the process of requesting funds. I'll take a look at Kansas because we now have some design related to that and see if we can request funds for that as well. But ideally, we'd like to put together something that is really easy to read for council. So you can see, here's our projects, here's all the different funding sources, and here's what, the city's portion of that is in relation to some of these bigger projects that we have going on. Since there are some that are millions of dollars and some that are smaller. But we also have a couple new projects that they talked about, I think briefly with the charter park. And we're waiting on grant documentation for those to see what our portion is for those as well. So we'll include those in there too. That's all I have for right now.
And then a lot of those grants, they have a time frame when they release amounts of money.
Yes, and that's why we had to submit for reimbursement with White Hawk. Otherwise, we were going to go into inactive status for that
Oh, right.
project. Yeah. So
We got delayed there, is that correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know that much about the delays, but I'm sure Ashley could tell you.
You got a lot of shaking yeses on the other
Yeah.
end, so you answered right.
But yeah, there's quite a few that are running right at this moment, and trying just to make sure that we're getting our funds back from those projects. Right now, we've been reimbursed about $3.9 million for the pedestrian bridge, and we're holding that money in our general cash account. So make sure that we have that funding going forward, instead of moving it back and forth between our investment accounts and our checking account. So.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Do we have any new business? Laura, do you know anything?
No, we have no agenda bills, nothing.
Okay, well, each meeting, I'm getting more comfortable. I tell you, it was an adjustment moving into a different type of committee. So thank you for the help, the guidance. It says roundtable review. Do we have anything that a lot of this stuff's ongoing, correct? So I mean, we're gonna see that monthly. So I don't have a, I'm good with that. I think I'm comfortable where we're at right now. I just hoping the bridge gets done and we can move on to Kansas. Right?
That's the plan.
Okay. Has anybody heard anything? I heard one person commenting about the bridge. They says, well, now that they got a crosswalk at Lane, they're not gonna use the bridge. They're gonna go cross at Lane. And I don't think that's gonna happen, correct? We're gonna go back to,
So the crosswalk at Lane, when the contractor is completed with the bridge and they're removing the current crosswalk, they're at Rocky Road that the construction team is using. That one and Lane Boulevard will get removed and essentially restored back to its original conditions
right, without any light.
without
or
any
anything,
at all.
Right,
That is correct.
okay. That's what I thought, so. that's
All
what-
crossings will be on the bridge.
Correct. And I'm sure it'll be nice for the kids. They'll enjoy it.
And all of the vehicle traffic as well.
Yes. Yeah, well, now I have to start being on time. North Ording's hard to get through some days. Okay, anything else from staff? Happy? Go lucky? No, we won't go lucky. We'll just go. Okay. Have a fine trip. You behave and remember, you gotta come back to the US. Okay? So, thank you very much. Good job, staff. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.